Hey there, welcome to my channel where I take you on tours of tiny spaces and showcase stories of people living alternatively. In today's episode, we're gonna meet a couple that's no stranger to living in tiny homes or having a nomadic lifestyle. They're gonna explain why each of these petite abodes are useful in different ways and how they can rotate through them seasonally. And if you like videos like this, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know every single time we publish a new episode.
Hey, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Lucas.
Welcome to our van toad. My partner and I live in here full-time seasonally. We have lived in all sorts of different types of tiny homes. So our first house that we lived in together was 400 square feet. It was a little cabin in northern Minnesota. And then from there, we've lived out of our tents. We are both outdoor educators and wilderness guides, and so being in a tent for weeks or even months at a time is something that we have done over the last 15 years of our professional career. And then we bought a sailboat, a 1977 Columbia 30-foot sailboat on Lake Superior, and that was home for 3 seasons, so we would get 6 months out of it per year. And obviously it would freeze over, too cold to be in there. So in the time that we had our sailboat, we were building our tiny house, which is I'd say our foundational home. It's our home base. It's currently in Minnesota. And then the van toad is our space where we can get out and travel really easy to get around and play outside. It is the most simplified version of all the spaces that we have lived in. And so it's the exact parts that we love, need, and want. So the van is an essentially accumulation of 10 years of small living, more or less, which is kind of cool.
Our 3 priorities for this van was we wanted a bed that was always set up. We needed a garage space because we didn't have storage for our bigger toys. And we needed an office space or a living space. And we valued the open floor plan.
It is a Mercedes Sprinter van. She's a 144 wheelbase and is nice and compact, has the taller roof to it. Lucas is 6'3", so it's nice to have that headroom in there.
So we found the van locally to us in Oregon we got it for $31,000. I would say total right now, the van you're looking at, we're probably about 10 grand in on just the building materials.
So this is a V8 turbo diesel, and it gets about 18 to 22 miles per gallon. So up on the roof, we have 200-watt solar panels. There is a vent up there, and then also a rocket box. So lots of paddling gear and extra bags for adventures. So this is the kitchen. You'll notice that it's not inside, it is outside, and this is on purpose. We have experience over the years of what's really valuable to have inside and what's really valuable to have outside. With the van, we're dominantly gonna be in arid, warm, mild climates. And so we have the 2-burner Coleman stove with a propane. Water station with some fresh water in a 5-gallon tank and some soap. So this table totally disassembles, rolls up, fits in the back really nice. If we absolutely have to, if it's raining or super windy, which has happened, we can cook inside the van. It's not as comfortable, but it's doable. All right, so coming back to the side of the van, there's a couple of things I want to share with you in terms of what we modified. The windows are all added, so we added 3. There's 2 on the side of the bed, and then there's the one on the sliding door here. This window on the side here we're fairly happy with. In the morning, if I'm not wanting to get up because it's a little cool, I often will perch up next to the window and watch the sunrise. So come on back into what we like to call the garage. This is one of 3 components of how we designed the van. So I'd say the garage and the bed are the largest parts of the van. We sat down and asked ourselves what toys what do we want with us? And so the bikes, the surfboards, and the stand-up pedal boards became the things that we wanted. And so the design stemmed from the shape of each of those things. So the surfboards all fit on the side, right? You can't disassemble them. Maybe you can take off a fin, but they have to go all the way in. So it made sense that they would be on the side. Each of these are pretty big drawers that come out, which is pretty awesome. And so if I take this off, you can just tell that, you know, this all slides out. These are just the stand-up paddle boards and the pumps. Lucas has figured out, based on handlebars, based on how tall the frame is, how they would fit in here, because it really is like playing Tetris, of making sure that these two bikes can fit next to each other and not scratch each other a ton, and make sure that they fit next to the surfboard. So the storage space is designed based on the actual gear that we have and the size of it and the shape of it. All right, so let's head inside to Toad. I like to call the tiny house the two-step tour. This is the one-step tour. Something that makes me feel at home is cozy and simple. Just being able to relate that back here. So like why I love like the cedar ceiling paneling, and you know, having earth tones and things that are like easy to switch out, things I'm not really gonna get sick of, because anything relating to nature is gonna make me feel so good. So like having just like natural wood colors around. There's a lot of correlation between the van and the tiny house, and even parts of the sailboat as well, that it's like, oh, this is comfortable to me. This is aesthetically pleasing to me. I think maybe our threshold of what's comfortable and what's uncomfortable has evolved over the years, but we have to remind ourselves that we can be comfortable and that we're allowed to feel comfortable.
Well, and I think that's why we've had no qualms about, you know, building out a van and having a queen bed set up all the time. Like that's a creature comfort that we deserve, but it feels really good to have a bed to crawl into.
This is kind of an open space that can transition, right? So changing space, sitting space, and workspace. So working full-time on the road, it's really important to me and to Lucas that we have a place to stand. Standing desks are very important to us. There's an arm that comes out, a table attached, and it can also attach here if we want it to. But this is my workstation, which is really nice. And if we're both in here, one person will be here, and actually the bed almost doubles as a standing desk. So we'll be back to back. Between all of the years of how we've lived, we're fairly used to working right next to each other. So here we have shoes. Something that we have in the tiny house is wood that was given from a friend or has a unique story behind it. But I'm pretty sure this came from a friend, and we just tried to leave it as natural as possible because we like the natural aging of things, because it just makes a hominess to it. Next to it, you have all the dry foods. We like the clear bins because you can actually see what's inside it. It helps me when I'm at the grocery store to not overbuy. So right now we have a cooler because that's what we had. I'd say there's definitely some frustration points here because ice, it melts. We're in a warm climate. Like right now, there is an 1.5 inches of water at the bottom that I need to drain. Sometimes I have ice packs that if I'm at somebody's house, I'll pop in their freezer. But again, those only last, for at most 2 days. Eventually, we'll switch over to a refrigerator and be able to use our solar with that. It is nice to have just a few places to hang a couple coats, a couple extra items of clothing. So it's pretty cool. The surfboards, right? We can't take them apart, but they extend out into this space right here. So when they're in here, they fit. When they're not in here, we all of a sudden have extra storage. In terms of water, we don't have a big water source or a big tank anywhere. The big one that we have is in the outdoor kitchen, which is a 5-gallon tank. But then I have a couple of different small ones, and it's easy to get at, easy to refill. None of my spaces have been with running water. So I'm just very water conscious. And having these small jugs, again, are easy to fill up, and I just love being aware of how much water I'm using. So the biggest lessons that I think we've learned over the years as we've lived in small homes and then, right, they keep getting smaller and smaller, is our systems continue to get more simple, and we value that so much. Definitely less is more. What you do have are quality. They're things that you use. They're things that function well. Having that simplicity just goes such a long way, because now there's room for us to live our lives. I want to say that I went surfing, and not that I had to fix my water system because some gasket broke. What's important to us is being outside, adventuring, being with our family, and being able to travel and not have to worry about the systems that we live in. I don't know if I could live this way with really anybody else. We have really similar morals and values. I want to go live my life, and I want to be with people, and I want to explore. And so creating that space like that together has allowed that to happen.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. We hope to one day also do a tour of Natalie and Lucas's tiny home. So make sure that you subscribe so that you know every single time we publish a new episode.